Okay, this is part 2, setting up a Moodle course. We're in Moodle 2.2, and last session about a little over half an hour, a little bit too long, but we just covered how to get the basic shell and some of the settings and things like that. So very quickly I'm going to add on to a couple other little things I talked about before in the process of building my course. And just to summarize, you see here on screen, I've got a main title, I've got my sections, and I've outlined. I basically put a title up here at the top and instructions, and then I created one of the most important things is I created this common content block here on the left, which when I click on one of these things actually jumps you down, and here's the common content area. So I might as well just keep moving along those lines. I'm going to turn editing on, and I'm going to go to the common content area, and I'll just take off that use default, and we'll call it common content. This area holds resources you'll be using throughout the course. You can quickly get to these by clicking on the menu items to the upper left, right? So, I could color that or something like that, maybe make it a little more stick-outable, but I don't want it to be too, I don't know. I could color it if it actually was popping up. So again, I'll go with sort of a blue. Not quite enough contrast, so I'll make it bold. Save changes. Alright, so now we look at that section. It says common content, so on and so forth. I might want to make that a little bit darker. Then I want to start thinking about dates. So what I've decided is I'm going to do modules, and everything is going to be due on Sundays, and then I'm going to have a grace period till Wednesday, but I'll put that out in a different document. So if I look at my calendars, Sunday is, the last Sunday was the 6th, and so here I've got the 7th, which is a Monday, so I was going Monday, what is it? No, I'm sorry, yeah, that was on, so I want basically this module to go from the 6th into the 20th, right? So the 6th would be Sunday, or yeah, so the 7th, so 7th is Monday through the 20th. So I wanted to show you something quickly I learned in Excel, and I'll do a new sheet here. You can see the example up at the top, but let's say that I want to get all the dates for the rest of the month. Just ignore what's here already, because I'm going to recreate that as an illustration. I can put 7 January and 20 January. So I verified, the 7th is, again, I'll look at the calendar. The 7th is, and you could, of course, just pull out a calendar and do that way if you wanted. The 7th is a Monday, and I want actually the end of the week to be Sunday and the beginning of the week to be Monday, so that works. So 7 through the 20th, so we go from a Monday to a Sunday 2 weeks later, and then the next one is 21 January, and then 3 February. So I want to show you what happens when I do that. It actually autofills all the other dates all the way up until May. And that's pretty neat. Excel is very good at kind of figuring out patterns. Now I tried to do this, Unit 1, like that, and it did not autofill that. Unit 2, so when I tried, it just repeated 1, 2. Actually, yeah, it just repeated that pattern. However, I suspect if I get rid of the colon, it might be smart enough to do that. So it's worth learning how to use these office tools. Yeah, so there I can get and do all of them. In reality, I want 8 units, and so I could kind of theoretically finish a little bit early or stretch out Unit 1, because the truth is I'm chopping a little bit of it off. So I have to kind of figure that out. But in general, now I have a sort of a layout of how it'll work, and I can fill those dashes in here, and then I can take all of this, and really in my case the class is going to be over by the 13th, so we're not going to worry about that one. And then for this I'll just put finals, Not sure how I want to word that. And so then I can take all of this and I'll actually put in another column, and I'd like to have a space, colon, space, and I'll repeat that all the way down. There's lots of clever ways you can do that. And then I'm going to want some kind of name here, so I'm going to put, you know, XYZ to tell me to change the name, and then just for kicks I'm going to put slashes, because these are kind of programming classes, so I want to be clever, or maybe I'll just put something like that, and then I'll autofill that. So why do all this? Well, now what I can do is I'll take all this information, make that one a little bit smaller, oops, and I'll copy all that, and I'm going to put that into Word. And one of the few things I use Word for is find and replace. And I'll paste that, and I don't really want it in a table, so let's see if I can paste it again. I'm going to paste it as text only. Right, let's get rid of all that. Oh, come on. Delete table. And notice that these are tabs, so I do find and replace, which is Control H, and wherever I have a tab, which is $T, I'm going to replace it with a space. So now I replace all, and so now I have these very nicely formatted items. So I'm going to set that off on the side, and just because Word is kind of bulky and cumbersome, I'm going to take those, close Word, and open up Notepad, another version of Notepad, and put it in here. And then I have this just ready to go for the next thing. So that's Unit 1 getting started. Well, now I'll go to Unit 2, and I'm just going to cycle through. So I copy Unit 2, Control C, edit Unit, whoops, that was Unit 1, I didn't want that. Unit 2, uncheck default, highlight, select, save changes. Unit 3, so this will take a couple minutes, and bear with me, you can get the idea. I'm going to go ahead and pause this and finish the rest of these so you can see pretty much what's going on. Alright, so now I've got these all in. I realized I ran out of space, so this common content needs to move down. So I'll move that down. Leave me one extra section for the finals. And that brings up the whole calendar question. So it's always worth considering. We have a bunch of different things at my school to consider. Not only the academic calendar, but the employee calendar. So I'll jump over to that, and I'll just go to cpcc.edu, and best to use the official one, and I go over to the school calendar, and so it's spring 2013. We go here and get this Word document. I really don't like calendars in Word, but we got what we work with. So it's worth looking at this and saying, okay, well, what do we have to worry about in the spring? What days would be relevant to students? So faculty work day, now we've got full semester start and end. So first day of the semester is the 10th. Short sessions, if you had a short session, obviously you need to worry about that. Break for faculty students, so that's these smiley faces. If I turn off the stuff, make that a little more legible. So spring break is, in this case, the 11th through the 18th, right? This little X is second short session begins. So it's not the 18th, it's 11th through the 17th. So what I'll do is I'll jump into my course. Let's see. Go back and what did I say? The 11th through 17th of March. So I go down here, and that's going to be April, May, June, March. Right, so that's going to be right in the middle of my Unit 5. And And that kind of throws a monkey wrench into it. And so the question is, do I want to add a section and say take a break? Do I want to add a note here? So I'll say 11 through 17 March is spring break. That's a Saturday through Sunday. Or does that include Friday? So once again, I've got to look. That starts on a Monday and goes to the 18th, the 17th, because some people have weekend classes. And I'd like to emphasize it a little bit is make that bold, make the whole thing a little bit more colorful, and actually that's an awful color to use because it reminds us of the old hyperlink colors. Let's do orange because it's spring break. And maybe I'll make it a heading 3. So I'd have to remember to adjust this unit to maybe be a little less intensive, or I could change and make it a week longer, and that would shift around all my dates. Now if you've been teaching a while, you know that there's lots of different ways to do this. So now I've got more or less a shell that I can use for a lot of other things. I will make a page that's a syllabus, so I'll do that as a page. I'll link to that from over here. Another thing I like to do with my courses, obviously in here I could go in and edit this XYZ. I wanted to show you a way to do that quickly. Supposing I knew the names of all my modules, like say I'm going to call them Getting Started, then Alpha Bravo Charlie. Well, one way to edit that is I hold the Control key, and I'm going to bring down my my tab bar here so you can see it up here. I'm going to hold the Control key and do 1, 2, 3. And notice I've got 1, 2, whoops, I just closed that one. That would have been 1, 2, 3. I'll illustrate again and go back to have all these in a row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I've got all these tabs, and I can simply let's see, it's not Control tab, it's Alt tab, Control tab. Yeah, Control tab cycles me right through them, and Shift Control tab cycles me backwards. So now it's just edit, save, edit, save, edit, save, edit, save, and then close, 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 close. Sometimes that's faster than closing them back to the window, and so on and so forth. So if I know what I'm going to do in these units, I can do that. I'm going to leave them as XYZ for now, so when I copy them, I know to change them in each course. So to close all of these in a hurry, since I'm not going to be changing them now, is I just hit, let's see, there's one thing one I do all the time, Control W, I believe. Yeah, Control W, which is close the window. And now I'm back there. So then another thing I like to do is in each section is I'll add a resource, a label, and I'll just put something like this. Read and review these resources, right? And I want them to stop and read, so I'll highlight that and make it bright red and bold. And then I save that, and then I'll do another one, and then I'll say perform these activities. Notice I'm using kind of an upper lowercase combination, helps to spell right. Again, I'll make that bold, and so stop, and then I'm going to basically continue that metaphor and we go. So I want a brighter green or darker green, right? So stop and read that stuff, and then go do these. Actually, I should do that. Go never done it quite with a stop and a go, but I always use the colors. So let me try that just for kicks. And then, of course, with the new copy feature, we have the ability to make many duplicates of these. Another way would be to create it and just continue to hit the back button and save and back button and save. But in this case, we can just hit the ×2 and get them to appear in each place. And so what I'll do is move any instructions and things like that that I want under that respective area. Another thing I'll do that makes it a little bit nicer is edit that, and I'll put a horizontal rule in there. Now there used to be the horizontal rule tool, and they got rid of it. So I go into my HTML and I simply put bracket HR space like that, and that puts a horizontal rule, and I'll copy that and update it. Now you might want to consider the completion options. Do you want them to check off that they've done everything? So I'm going to go ahead and say students can manually mark as completed. Looks like that's there already. And so that gives them the checkbox there. Now you see the horizontal line, and I'll do the same under Go. I'll put that horizontal rule in the HTML and update that. Okay. And save and return the course. So I want to illustrate that other little fix. Supposing I have something I just want a whole bunch of, like I'll go here and I'll put label, and I just hit blah, blah. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit, let me move this up so you can see again the whole thing. I'm going to hit save, but now I'm going to hit the back button, and you see blah right here. I hit the back button and save again. Just thinking. Well, it seems to be confused. So it seems to have erased that. Now, so this is my bad. In this case, on this version with Chrome, it erases it. In others, like if you try Firefox and IE, that might stay there. So then when you hit submit again, you get a duplicate, and it keeps making duplicates. I used to use this a lot before they added the duplicate option. So now you can just use the duplicate option, but that's still kind of a shortcut. When we use the duplicate option, here's the problem we run into. Say I just want to duplicate blah. Well, I hit x2, which is ×2, and then it says, are you sure you want to? And you have to continue. And then it says you want to edit it, and you have to edit new copy. So you're basically having to click 2 more times just to do what you wanted to do in the first place. And that's a little bit redundant, because I wouldn't click it if I didn't want to copy, and I wouldn't have a copy that I wouldn't want to edit, because you almost always want to edit the copy. And if you hit, even if you didn't, you just hit save at that point. So now I can get blah 2 or what have you. In this case, I don't actually want blah. I can't easily hit the back button, so I'll go back to the main course, and I have 2 of those, so I'll delete that and delete that. So there's several other things I need to do. So I'm going to insert a resource, a page. I'm going to call that syllabus, and I will put paste syllabus information here, and this is a note to myself. And actually, I'm always getting the description area confused with the actual content. And usually I'll make this top portion, I'll do a little bit of formatting there. And again, I'd like students to manually mark that they've read it. I'm going to save this, and the syllabus can be under this Unit 1, or it could be down in the main portion. What I'll do is I'll copy this link, copy link address, go over to this page, and then highlight that syllabus and link to it. And this way, when I save this page, and once the syllabus is in there, all we do is click syllabus, and bam, it's going to be there. And the cool thing about this is when I copy this shell to others, hopefully that link continues to work. So you have to think about that. Now this course site link, which I had before, is I have actually resources off campus. In this case, I use Tropical Teachers, some other notes. So I would actually link to this site, which is where there's information about this course, right? So I'll copy that URL as well and put that in there. But obviously, how you do that in your particular class could be different. I think that's about it for this session. If I come up with some more notables, there's all these little nips and tweaks I end up doing along the way. After 10 years of teaching, I can never really make up my mind. Every now and then I'll hear about a new idea, or students will tell me about something that they like or don't like or what have you. And even now I'm looking at stop, exclamation point, read and review, thinking, well, do I want the dash there? Do these two arrows make sense? You know, there's different options to think about. And the syllabus will go up under stop, read and review, and so on. So I could also put my instructions for the other discussion forums, and I think that we've got the basics for a shell. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple other things, like there's going to be a page for important class dates. I'll copy that over. And that's going to include like last data drop, the 10% reporting, things like that. And then see also calendar, because I do have a calendar link. And I'll leave the activity completion, right? And that stuff is all going to be duplicated in the syllabus. I'm a little bit torn about how much to put here and how much to put in the syllabus, because if you go through the work to do the syllabus, it makes sense that you don't duplicate it there. But I've never had students say there's too much information. I have had students say it was confusing because the information is in lots of different places. Now if it's the same information, I'm not sure if that's necessarily a bad thing. Also, I do a lot of lecture recordings, and they are unique for each. There's a separate directory for each class. So I can find the directory for this particular class. And so I go to folders here, and I've got web. I don't. See what folders I have. So there's lots of them here. I've got Von Briesen, Web 115, right? And I have none because it's the first semester I'll be recording for that class. So now I'll go in and edit that one for my recorded lectures for that. So let's see, are there any obvious things I've missed now? We'll go ahead and save that. And so when I copy this course, let's go ahead and I'm going to stop this and do one more to show which blocks and things I like. I'm going to delete the activities because I've already got a forums link over here under all forums, and so I don't see the need there. When you click resources, notice it links to all the pages and things I've got. I could see adding one there, and that would put them all in one place, so I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to copy the URL from there, come over to all forums, And underneath that, I'm going to type resources, highlight that link, paste it. So why do I do this? Because I want to have less things all over to clutter the screen. So now we can go both to all the forums, right, as well as to the resources. And you can see where this description may or may not be useful. And on the forums you can see where maybe I could take all these instructions and put them somewhere else so that this wouldn't take up quite so much space. So in number 3 I'll go talk about the blocks, and that'll probably be just about enough to get started. Thanks for watching.